Welcome on in to another episode of BKL Makes Me Want to Shout. I'm Josh Reed alongside Carl Jones, Ryan Talbot, and Matt Parrino. The Bills coming off of a big win against the Bengals, an impressive win offensively, defensively, made some big plays in the second half to help seal up that victory. Looking forward now, it's another big one on deck. It's the New England Patriots, the first place New England Patriots. Of course, they knocked off the Bills earlier in the season. Matt, bigger statement game for the Bills or for the Pats?
I think I'm going to say for the Bills, only because I think it's like one of those situations where you got to remind somebody who the bleep you are type of thing. I put out a tweet after the Bills beat the Bengals the other day about just the unbelievable nature of this season for Josh Allen and the Bills, that they've knocked off the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Bengals, Burrow, Jackson, and Mahomes. And the commentary that was in the mentions was eye-popping. Just the arrogance of Patriot Nation that just is sitting there waiting for the Bills to come on, come to New England, come to Foxborough, let's have a party, we're going to knock you off. So I think this is a moment for, obviously, Bills fans want to maintain the division and any chance to still win it. But I think this is a chance to, you're probably going to end up playing the Patriots in the playoffs. You might have to make the kind of statement that you can go on the road if you don't end up winning this division and being able to perform in Foxborough against Drake May and this upstart New England Patriots team.
I love the feedback you're getting from Pats fans, because not just Patriots fans, but Boston sports fans, they are a fragile bunch, man. You talk about a group that has won a ton of championships, right? They've seen it with the Bruins and the Celtics and the Red Sox. They're spoiled because the first time they hit turbulence, man, they do not know how to handle it. And they've had some down times, Ryan. So now they're chesty. They're chesty. They already beat the Bills once, and you feel like they are welcoming this challenge. Bigger statement game. What do you think?
100% for the Patriots. And you're right, man. They are vocal on social media now that they're winning again. They were kind of hiding under a rock for a few seasons, and now they're boastful, they're bragging. But this is a huge game for the Patriots, because I think they hear the whispers of they haven't beaten anyone this year. Their best win was against an injury-depleted Bills team, an injury-depleted Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. And now you can at least sweep the Bills. And if you sweep Buffalo, then the talking maybe goes away a little bit, and maybe you are seen as a little bit more legitimate in this conference. And the opposite of that happens. If Buffalo wins this game, well, then the talking does start. Is this team going to crumble down the stretch with a Baltimore Ravens game in prime time? And I know Baltimore hasn't been playing good ball, but a Miami Dolphins team in the final week of the season, where you historically have not played well in Miami. So I feel like they really need this win for a statement factor and to make sure they don't start going down that little slippery slope and maybe open the door for the Bills to win this division.
I'm right with you, Ryan. I'm watching national TV on Monday, and rightfully so, everyone's saying, listen, when the Bills are playing like that, when Josh Allen, is looking like that, there isn't a team in the AFC that can't beat them. And if you're the New England Patriots, it's like, hello, we have a guy who is second right now in the MVP race, and we also beat the Buffalo Bills earlier this season. Why aren't we getting that type of love? So if you are a Patriots player, I don't care about the fan base, if you are in that locker room or coaching staff, you're like, wait a second. We've already done this once. I guess we got to do it again to remind everyone who we are as a team. Listen, if the Bills even were to fall short Sunday, I don't think there's anyone on God's green earth that will be like, Josh Allen can't win 3-4 games in the postseason. But if Drake May can find a way to get another win on Sunday, I think the conversation does change a little bit to where there is more respect on the New England Patriots name.
Let's see if I can make this make sense when I say it out loud. I think that it's important for the Patriots, but it's a statement for the Bills. So I'm going to go with the Bills on this topic because, Matt, I like your point. It's almost that big brother thing. You're the little brother, maybe scores some buckets in the backyard against the big brother, starts feeling himself, and then it gets the game point. Big brother swats the ball out of the air, grabs it before it goes out of bounds, and then goes up and just bodies him, right? To me, this is the Bills' chance to go into Gillette. We just coming off of a game where Josh Allen threw the cape on. He's got a chance to go into New England, throw it on again, lead them to a win, and leave the Patriots going, We're probably going to win the division, and at some point we have to face that dude, no matter where it is, which it'll probably be in Gillette if they do end up meeting a third time, then it's probably not going to go their way. Just putting that seed of doubt in there, which, by the way, you can't tell me that that seed of doubt doesn't already exist. It does. It absolutely does. They don't welcome in Josh Allen going, there's no doubt we're gonna beat the Bills. There's no way they think that. This is just kind of watering that seed a little bit, letting it grow a little bit, and then wait for maybe 5-6 weeks from now when they meet up in the playoffs. And we all know that's a different monster. When the playoffs arrive, it changes everything. Josh Allen's a player who has been there, done that in the playoffs. Sean McDermott's a head coach that has coached a ton of playoff games at this point. They've got playoff experience on that roster. But I'm going to say this is a chance for the Bills to go into New England and make a pretty big statement. All right, defensively, Matt, Bills, well, let's start with Christian Benford, man. The guy finds the end zone twice in the last 2 weeks. He's just playing out of his mind right now. But on the whole, the defense allowed a ton of points again. Third downs was an issue once again, not getting to the quarterback. It's the same story over and over again. How worried are you? Is this defense, for lack of a better word, trashed, or is it salvageable? Can you take it to the body shop, fix it up just enough to get it home?
So I was listening to the Athletic Football Show, and when we were talking about topics for this show, it was just at that time, and Robert Mays, who I think does a good job over there, he was talking about the Bills' performance, and when he got to the defense, he said that defense is a train wreck, and those 2 turnovers were fluky plays that if you remove those from the game, like, are the Bills able to make enough plays to keep pace with what Joe Burrow and that offense were doing? And I think, well, I don't believe in December and January I would put Drake May and this Patriots offense in the same tier as what we saw in Orchard Park in Cincinnati the other day. I think it's a fair question to ask. Now, what I think needs to be mentioned in there is that they were without Joey Bosa, who to me is the straw that stirs the drink. They gave Greg Rousseau that contract at $20 million per year because he is a B, maybe C-plus tier pass rusher, right? You give the A-tier guys $35 to $40 million per season, and Greg Rousseau is a role player, a co-star at best. I think that that's fair to say at this point in his career. I think we know who he is. There's a stat, guys, that I think is, if I'm going to have panic for this defense, this is the one. The Bills are 1-4 this season in games where they've lost the turnover battle. So their offense is turning it all over more, and their defense isn't getting as many as they have. When they have, we saw it on Sunday. They can win those tough shootout-style games. The one win when they've lost the turnover battle this year came at home against the Tampa Bay Bucks. The 4 other games on the road. They're probably going to be on the road in the playoffs. So is this defense a train wreck? At times, it kind of looks like that. Early in the season, it was the run defense. That's gotten a little bit better. I think this last weekend, it wasn't so much about how good the run defense was against Cincinnati. It was the fact that the pass defense was so easy to pass on this team. So there are question marks about this unit, and there's going to be as you go through the playoffs. They have Josh Allen, and I think he's the single best player if the season ended today. Amongst the AFC playoff teams, he is the single best player and the one that means the most to netting your team a win in the end. And I think you'd rather have that.
I would expand on that and say, might not just be the AFC. It might be the entire NFL. If you freeze the standings where they are going into the postseason, he probably is the most important person on either side of the ball to both teams. You look at the last 3 teams that the Bills defense has gone up against. It's the Texans, the Steelers, and the Bengals, Ryan. And on the whole, they've looked better at times in that stretch.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with the ability to stop the run. The Bills are number 28 in the league still in run defense, but in the last 3 games, they are number 2 in the league. The only team that has performed better in run defense has been Jacksonville, letting up a little over 70 yards per game. And I get it. They have not been going against the elite class of running backs with those 3 teams, but Chase Brown had been running the ball very well, putting up a lot of yards as of late. Pittsburgh has been able to move the ball at times on the ground. And then Houston, that game had a lot more to do with their defensive effort than what the Bills, defense was able to do, because they did shut down the Texans in the second half of that game. So I feel like this defense can turn a corner. And obviously a lot of it has to do with getting healthier, getting Joey Bosa back for that stretch run for the playoffs. Getting Ed Oliver back is going to be pivotal as well. If you get Ed Oliver and Joey Bosa healthy in time for the playoffs, I think that when you have that pressure coming from up front, that's going to help the guys on the back end. And I've seen a lot of really good from Christian Benford. I went back. I didn't think Hairston's coverage was bad in that Bengals game. T. Higgins is very good at just getting these little push-offs at the right time without extending his arm the entire way, but the coverage itself was good. Questions about the nickel cornerback spot for sure, but I still think there's enough here on this defense where they can get a stop or two when need be. And then, like Matt said, there's Josh Allen, who's going to be able to put up some points as well come playoff time.
You talk about how much better they've been against the run. I don't think it's coincidence that it lines up with the timing of Shaq Thompson taking over there at middle linebacker, because he's definitely brought an edge to that defensive side of the ball, in particular against the run. Carl, after the game, we're sitting around talking, and I really liked your theory, and I've thought about it the last 2 days. Almost defensively, the Bills are going to give up what they're going to give up. It's just going to happen. This isn't a team that's going to hold any offense to 13 points. So damn the torpedoes. Just sit down at that blackjack table and double down on anything that flies.
I'm happy y'all have added the caveat that the Bills defense isn't good, but you have Josh Allen, so it may not matter as much. So we're all in agreement that it's not. But I'm right with you. You got Josh Allen on the other side. You don't need to be a good defense. You don't even need to be average. Can you just be good for 3 snaps a game? And that's really what it was on Sunday against the Bengals. Christian Benford got a pick 6. Jordan Phillips got his hand in the air, and then they executed a perfect cornerback blitz off the edge to get the Bengals off of the sticks in the end of this first half. Just roll the dice out there. If you got to double down on a hard 12, if you got to split some aces when they showing 10 and you look crazy, everyone at the table looking at you like you got 10 heads.
Yeah, you've got kicked off of tables before.
For sure. But you know what, though? I'm tired. Sometimes you at the table and you ask everybody, what does the book say? What does the book say? That's playing it safe, right? The Bills were playing everything by the book in the first half, and the Bengals were going up and down the field. So you know what? Screw the book sometimes. Let's double down on this hard 12 and pray to God I get blackjack.
Yeah, and when you're down to your last chip, sometimes you just got to think outside the box.
I don't care about the book at that point, man. It's like we're fending for everyone by ourselves at this table, all right?
We're talking about injuries a little bit. We touched on, Bosa and Ed Oliver, two players who right now, we'll find out a little more as the week goes on, because as we tape this on Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be a walkthrough. We heard from Sean McDermott on Monday talk about the guys kind of trending in the right direction. We won't get a good read on it Wednesday. Thursday, probably a little bit better when we see them out on practice. But I'm going to ask you guys, 2 starters that have been so important to this team's success this year, Spencer Brown and Joey Bosa. Out of those 2 players, you just get to pick one. Matt, out of those 2 players, which one do the Bills need more, not long-term, just on Sunday?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think there's probably an argument to be made for Spencer Brown, but I am going to go with Joey Bosa, because I think you do want to try to affect, and to Carl's point last segment, make a play or 2 in this game to potentially flip it if it ends up being close on the road against a divisional opponent that knows you well. So I wonder if you get Bosa back and he's close to 100%, if that doesn't mean you get a strip sack or you get Drake May to hurry up and maybe throw an untimely interception, something that when the Patriots have been bad this season, it has been in games where Drake May is not taking care of the football. That was what led to the Bills losing a close one against the Patriots earlier in the season, when they were making those plays on the defensive side of the ball and forcing mistakes from the Bills offense. So I'm going to go Joey Bosa, but man, I wouldn't argue with Spencer Brown. He's going to be, I think that the guys that have filled in for Brown have been really good. I thought Alec Anderson, his performance was it's been underappreciated, I think, 2 weeks ago, because he didn't play this last week. But if you don't have Spencer Brown in this game on the road, I worry about that a little bit, even though I'm not overly worried about that pass rush.
Ryan, Bosa or Brown?
Spencer Brown. And here's why. Drake May has been sacked 3 times or more in 8 games this season, and the Patriots are still 6-2 in that stretch. He takes a lot of sacks. So that's what Bosa is there to do, is to get some pressure, get some sacks. It hasn't necessarily affected the Patriots enough where they have lost a lot of those games. So I still think the Bills can get home once or twice, whether that's some design blitzes, sending some cornerback, safety pressure, whatever it may be. But you need Spencer Brown on the road in this game if you want to run the ball extremely well. If you want to protect Josh Allen, if this is going to turn into another one of those shootout type of games, I want Buffalo's offensive line at their full health. So to me, it comes down to Allen's going to have to win this game potentially, and you want those guys that are in front of him to be the best starting 5, and that includes Brown.
I think in a vacuum, Spencer Brown is the much better player. I mean, when he's at his peak, we're talking about a PB or AP next to his name. But I think for this specific matchup, you will want Joey Bosa out there. Quarterbacks, I don't care who it is out there, if you get pressure in their face, they turn into pumpkins. We saw it last night with the Monday Night Football. Poor Justin Herbert. Po him.
Yeah, he was harassed.
That was bad.
There's some lawsuits that should be filed.
HR is definitely getting a phone call this morning. But I'll say this, though. I don't expect the Patriots' offensive line to be that putrid, but Will Campbell isn't playing either, and they're still banged up in some other spots. Joey Bosa could maybe, once again, like Matt said earlier, turn the tables, maybe even just one play, one pressure where you push someone into Drake May's lap to where it could be an easy slant completion, but he sails it because there's some pressure in his lap. So I think in this specific matchup, I'm going to take Joey Bosa.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this one because on one hand, you've got Spencer Brown, who, if he's healthy and he's out there, he's playing every offensive snap. Whereas Joey Bosa that's not going to be the case for Bosa, right? Even if Bosa's good enough to play but not at 100%, what's he going to play? 20 snaps maybe? Maybe a little more, maybe a little bit less, right around there though. But I like the point that Carl makes. At this point with the Bills defense leaning kind of on needing to make the big play, Joey Bosa provides that, much like Christian Benford. There aren't a lot of guys on that side of the ball who are big play guys. Josh Allen, I'm not going to say the 5 of us could stand in front of Josh Allen. He'd be able to make some plays, but he wouldn't be bad. That's just Josh Allen, right? That's obviously no knock on the Bills O-line because it is absolutely elite. But give me Bosa in this scenario because, what was it, 2 weeks ago, right, in Pittsburgh, the reason Christian Benford ends up in the end zone is because of Joey Bosa, because he's able to get to Aaron Rodgers, get the sack, get the hit on him, and Benford scoops it and scores on that play. So I'm going to take Bosa, but I think you could argue either way and have a really solid argument. All right, guys, finally, let's take a look at the playoff picture because it tends to change now every time we pull it up, and it even changed last night after the outcome of the Monday Night Football game. Of course, the Eagles lose to the Chargers, so suddenly the Bills go from that number 5 hole, drop down 1 to the number 6. Matt, when you look at the standings right now, anything in particular jump out to you or anything you're kind of interested to see how it plays out?
Yeah, I think the Bills are in the driver's seat, even if they can't catch the Patriots, to have a really nice run of things. Because I think the Chargers, if you look at their next 4 games to close out the season, it's like a murderer's row. They play a Cowboys team that's going to be playing for its life. They play the Chiefs. I think there's 2 more really tough games. Maybe a Broncos team as well in there that's going to try to capture the number 1 seed in the AFC. So it's a scenario where if you end up as the 5 seed as the Bills, you're probably opening up the playoffs at the number 4 seed, whoever wins the North. Right now, the Steelers seem to be the team that's going to win that division. I'm not ruling out the Ravens, but I think the Ravens have a tough schedule here to close out the season as well. Lamar does not look right. And I think if you could tell a Bills fan that you could start with the Steelers at their house to open and then just kind of see where the chips fall with a couple of other potential matchups in the next couple of rounds. And maybe if the Texans get hot at number 7, you get to play them again at home at Highmark Stadium in the AFC title game. Sign me up for that. I think now, no matter which way this thing goes with some of the perennial powerhouses on the outside looking in, the Bills is just setting up to be maybe the most advantageous run to chasing a Super Bowl appearance that the Bills have had under Sean McDermott and Josh Allen.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it almost sounds like it's, in your opinion, that it's you want the 5 seed if it's the Steelers, but maybe not if it's the Ravens.
Probably, but you know what? It's more so about not wanting to play the Ravens. It's the recent history between those two teams. Like the Bills have dominated that recent rivalry, and they haven't dominated each game necessarily, but I just mean in terms of beating a team. Like I think it is the last 3 times they've played. Maybe it's 3 of the last 4, whatever the case may be. Those odds tend to turn at some point, and to go on the road in Baltimore against that team, that's not where I'd want to start my playoff push. So yeah, if you can get Aaron Rodgers at 42 years old on the road against a team that you just literally dunked on for 2 straight quarters, the first half notwithstanding, I think you take that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think you're much better off going to Acrisure and playing Aaron Rodgers in that offense than going down to M&T Bank in Baltimore and taking on Lamar Jackson. Ryan, looking at those standings, what are you thinking?
Well, that win over the Bengals pretty much sealed the Bills as a playoff team, in my opinion. You look at where things stand. Yeah, the Texans have that head-to-head win. They could have potentially leapfrogged Buffalo, but Matt mentioned the Chargers and that murderer's row that they have. The Colts are going to fall off a cliff. They're signing grandparents on.
Yes,
in
hey,
free
easy.
agency.
Phillip Rivers,
Easy
man,
with the hate
easy.
on Philly Rivers.
Listen,
Come on.
No,
Dude's got
no disrespect to
72
Phillip
kids.
Rivers.
Show some
yeah,
respect.
I was going to say, Phillip Rivers' wife was like, hey, it's time to go Christmas shopping for our 20 kids and grandkids. He's like, oh, you know what? I
better get back to work.
Now.
Well, I better get back to
got out of
work.
Christmas shopping. So that's all he's doing right now. The Colts are going to fall off a cliff. The Bills have those head-to-head wins against the Ravens and the Chiefs. So, to me, the Bills are sitting pretty in terms of making the playoffs, and that's all you need this year in terms of get to the dance, and this is a very winnable conference. So, yes, if they end up in the 5 seed and the Ravens get the 4 somehow win their division, that's a very tough matchup. But I feel like the Bills pretty much by eliminating the Bengals and defeating them on Sunday, it pretty much set them in stone as a playoff team.
You guys are 100% right that it's the most favorable turnout right now for the Buffalo Bills. I will say if you are a Bills fan, the one thing that you need to keep an eye on is how the Jaguars and Texans finish the last 4 games of the season, because the Texans as a home team in the postseason is scary. Now, we all know that pass rushes are much different at home compared to on the road, and that's why like going to Denver is a little bit different than if Denver came to you. That won't be the scenario this season. But Houston at home, it kind of reminds me of those 2013 and 2015 Seahawks and Broncos teams where the offenses really wasn't giving you much. Peyton Manning really wasn't giving you much. Russ was still a baby at that point. But they had generational defenses that were able to take down Tom Brady's of the world, take down Peyton Manning's of the world, take down prime Big Ben's of the world, that everyone, and I remember it because I did the Googles this morning too. Back in 2013 and 15, everyone was like, oh man, the quarterbacks is just going to tear up these boys, and lo and behold, they made them look like humans again. So I think that's the one thing if you're a Bills fan, you are rooting for the Jacksonville Jaguars here down the stretch.
The thing that stands out to me is that we sat here and talked about the playoff picture, and I don't think anybody brought up the Kansas City Chiefs, which is just wild. I mean,
I think everybody's already moved on,
right?
Like,
no, I don't think you can. I think now's the time to talk about it more than ever because it's almost celebrating it. It's time to celebrate it, right? It's time to fire up that parade. The king has died. The king has been dethroned. But I mean, look, they have a slim chance of getting in. But man, watching that Texans game and watching Mahomes just get beat up and Kelsey and Mahomes just kind of weren't on the same page and everything. And you're starting to read and hear the stuff coming out of KC about how, well, they're going to have to start looking at reloading and how do they rebuild this whole dynasty to get it back to where it needs to be. It's wild because right now we're talking about no Ravens and no Chiefs. And when you've got Josh Allen in your back pocket, it's a damn good place for the Bills to be if the playoffs started right now. For Carl, for
Josh.
Matt. Yeah, go ahead. What you got? You got another
Before
one?
we get out of here,
Yep.
I got a hot take I'm going to drop on this episode. I think there's going to be a spicy shakeup in the AFC playoffs. I think the Bills are going to win the AFC East because the Miami Dolphins are going to run the table and knock off the Patriots in Week 18. The Ravens are going to win next week, and the Bills are going to be the number 2 seed. I don't think they could catch the Denver Broncos. I think they're winning too many games. But could you imagine in the last season of Highmark Stadium if somehow the Bills rattle off the next 4, the Patriots absolutely crap the bed down the stretch, and then we're sitting here with the Miami Dolphins as the number 7 seed opening that might be in Buffalo to see how that happens. But I don't know. They've been playing like sneaky good football. Offensively, I like the matchups that they have over the next couple of weeks. The the Steelers coming off of that game last week, the highs of beating the Ravens. I think they're going to kind of overlook the Dolphins, and the Dolphins can score the football, and that defense doesn't scare you. And then the next week, it's going to be who do they play the next week? Is it the I have it up. Oh, the Cincinnati Bengals without T. Higgins. By the way, why don't we go around the horn real quick? I know you got to get to the thing. This T. Higgins thing, guys, we're 2 or 3 weeks removed from Deion Dawkins going back into the game when he looked obviously not right. There was a replay at one point of Deion stopping on a pass rush snap. A guy just runs by. It's so uncharacteristic of him. That one where T's head goes off the ground against the Bills this last week, he should have been pulled from the game. What's the good of the spotter if you're not going to bring these guys out of the game? And I'm not even talking about like, oh, get a good player out of the game for the Bills, like from a Bills fan's perspective. I'm talking about for the health and safety of these guys. Like, he might not be right for a long time coming off of the concussions that close together.
Yeah, they did bad stuff to T. Higgins, and it's inexcusable, and why he was out on the field is crazy. But I will say this. We run out of time. We got to wrap it up. For Carl, for Ryan, for Matt, thanks for watching and listening to BKL Makes Me Want to Shout.